So I've been umpiring Netball Super League for 20 years, and I passed my international award in 2009 in the Cook Islands, which was brilliant at the under 21 Netball World Cup, which was, yeah, fantastic. When I was at PE college, we were recommended to get experience in lots of other sports to make yourself more employable, because you know, traditionally male PE teachers they know about cricket, football, rugby, hockey, but not necessarily the more traditional, back then, traditional women's sports like netball, lacrosse, rounders, that sort of stuff. So I went on an umpiring course at the time. I was a hockey umpire before that as well, so I went on an umpiring course in netball, and the Grand Dame of England Netball, Sheila Redpath, was the tutor of that course, and she noticed the transferable skills that I had from hockey, and basically said, you know, have you ever aspired to you know, travel the world and with a whistle? And you know, the rest, I guess, is history. It took from that course to get my international award was 8 years. No, I've never played netball. Never played netball. I say never. Probably a maximum of half an hour, I'd say. So learnt the rules of netball from reading the rule book, and, as I say, transferable skills from other sports. And I mean, I think that's you know, an example in itself, that to be an international performer, you don't you need to be born with that innate skill, you know, that born with skill. But with umpiring and you know, refereeing in any sport, it's something that you can learn and immerse yourself in. I did an awful lot of games in the early stages. I think in 1 year I probably did about 300 games, which if you do the maths, is more than, you know, more than one game in a week. So yeah, it's about, you know, just getting out there and immersing yourself in the sport. Why am I involved in netball? Wow, that's a really brilliant question. I mean, I think now, why am I still in netball is a question that I'm asked, because I've achieved quite a lot, and there are a few milestones I've got left to tick off. Hopefully the Commonwealth Games coming up and next year's World Cup again in Sydney will be those milestones, and then there is an all-time record for international matches that I'm chasing down at speed. But why did I get into netball? I think I just enjoyed the sport. You know, I was surrounded by netballers growing up. My aunt and cousin played netball, and my best mate's mum was heavily involved in netball. So it's always been around. She was a franchise director, Gloria Keach, in the beginning. So netball was always a sport that I've been interested in, but it was just different. It was just different. And I think, as I've said before, when Sheila Redpath gave me that kind of stoke in the fire, netball has always been so welcoming. So I've never experienced the opposites that you might expect from female referees or umpires in other male-dominated sports. So it's just always been welcoming, and it's just a great environment, and yeah, I really enjoy it. So I can categorically say that I've always been welcomed in this sport as a man, and you know, it's never been a thing. England Netball provided me with my career. In the end, I moved from teaching, and never did I dream of working for England Netball back in the day. I thought I was going to be in education for a lifetime, but you know, it's just such a welcoming sport, and it's just such a great place to be, really. Goodness me, there have been so many. I think the 2010 Delhi Commonwealth Games final, that was a very memorable game. It was the one that went to double overtime, so the game completed and it was a draw, and then both periods of extra time, 7 and a bit minutes, ran out, and after that period of time it was still a draw, and then the game just went on, and it still stands as the longest international game of netball world record, Guinness World Record, but also it's deemed one of the greatest netball matches of all time. If I probably stick on Commonwealth Games, there's one other game that's really incredibly memorable, and it was a game at the 2018 Commonwealth Games in the Gold Coast between Uganda and Malawi. And that game really did signify the rise of African netball. Uganda beat Malawi for the first time in 30 or 40 years. It might have been the first time ever, but it just signified the rise and recognition of African netball. And I think that's certainly where our sports future lies, and the development of netball in that region in particular. But it was just an outstanding game, and really did turn heads, more so than your traditional matchups between England and Jamaica or Australia and New Zealand. It was just fantastic. Yeah, I think it's always good for a challenge, but I think for me now, the ship has probably sailed, because I think you would need to be resident in Australia. I don't think you could just pop over there for a couple of weeks and then come back. So yes, I would have loved to, but I think that ship has sailed. Well, I mean, Australia, New Zealand always brings the biggest challenge. It really tests your skills. But having said that, on the converse, some of the most closest and fiercely fought games I've umpired are Wales versus Scotland, or Northern Ireland Wales, or that triad. Those matches where local rivalries and long histories of playing against each other have been really, really challenging matches. Oh, well, this is easy because they've retired. One of my most memorable players to umpire was Laura Langman. From New Zealand, just the ultimate athlete in both fitness, in what do they call it, court techers, and game sense and game craft. She honestly was one of the greatest players. Well, she probably is the greatest player to play this game, and I do feel privileged that I got the opportunity to umpire her and a number of other players as well. So when the players come over, ordinarily it's just to clarify a trend in what the umpires are calling. So players are able to come up to the umpires and ask for clarifications on any rules, and it mostly stems around them trying to get better. And again, that links into post-match conversations with coaches. Coaches often want to know what the trends in calls are, so that they can go back into their training environment and put that right. So going back to the court itself, they're often asking, we're being pulled for this, we're being pulled for that. What are you seeing? How can we adapt? So, one of the best examples are, a couple of times you penalised our goalkeeper for outside arm, and we can't really see it. And the umpire is very quick to come back and say, actually, the tip arm on the outside's fine. It's the push on the left arm. So it's that sort of thing. Another most recent one was, we're being pulled for obstruction as we're coming past. What are you seeing? And it's just an opportunity for us to say, just as you're going past the play, your arm's coming up before your distance on the ground is beyond 3 feet. So it's little things like that, but those interactions are always cordial, and it's about trying to put right what's going wrong for the next quarter that's coming. It's never about challenging decisions or airing grievances. So the off-court process after a game is probably 3 or 4 times as long as the game itself. So on every game that I've umpired for the last 20 years, umpires have been scrutinised by an assessment team, all of whom are retired international umpires. We've got assessors in there that have umpired World Cup and Commonwealth Games finals. So there's 8 assessment criteria for umpires, 1 to 4 in each of those areas. 1 is good, 4 is not so good, and umpires aspire to get an 8 every single time. So those assessors are there judging umpires, and those competencies are things like game management, so the discipline rules, position and timing, how you move around, vision, and then you've got techniques. You've got applications like contact obstruction, minor infringements, communications, that sort of thing. So you get a mark on everyone. So you're provided with that feedback in the starting point, and some comprehensive areas of development and areas of strength. And the key skill of umpires is how you use that report and your own post-match analysis, and that's the thing that takes a long time. So you watch your game back, and I can speak for myself, but it is a generally expected norm through the group. You watch your game back, and you take your own notes and look at the notes that you've been given by the assessor, and then probably a day afterwards, we get the performance analyst coding that comes in. So every time you blow your whistle or say advantage, that's all coded into clips. So, let's say, for instance, you end up having to advance a player for repeated infringing, maybe obstruction. You're able to clip all of the obstruction decisions that come up to that point, all of the proactive advice that you give to change behaviour, and then you'll be able to see it, and it all comes nicely into chunks, so you can then review your performance. Because netball is as it is, I personally, and again I know it's shared by my colleagues, review every single contact and obstruction decisions for validity, and then also every advantage contact and advantage obstruction decision, and that gives you kind of like an unofficial percentage correct or incorrect decision matrix for that game. So this all started, as I say, about 20 years ago with myself and Jackie Misen, who is a current assessor, using dictaphones and pieces of paper and Excel spreadsheets. But it's evolved over that period of time to be, I believe, a world-leading system for umpires. I think it's really important to note that umpires will make mistakes and errors. They absolutely will. They're not infallible. But I think it's how you respond to that. And the reason I'm raising errors as an area is that nobody can beat an umpire up more than they beat themselves up, But again, there's probably only been no more than 100 umpires that have umpired Super League. So there's only really 100 people in the country that know what it's like to walk a mile in the shoes of a Netball Super League umpire. And really the only opinion that counts is that from the assessor that's assessing you, and also your own opinion, because it's your own opinion and your own skills that will help you develop to not make those errors in the future. Well, I mean, the one thing I'd say is, yes, I still continue to make errors. I'm probably it sounds funny, doesn't it? It's probably as confident in my errors than I am in the correct decisions, because both of them are made at a split second with the information that I had available to me at the time. So, the camera angle is always interesting, because the broadcast angle could well be different to what the umpire was seeing at the time. Sometimes it could be better in favour of those sitting at home with stop, start, rewind at their disposal. Sometimes the angle that we had at the time is different to the one there, and our angle was better. So with regards to making errors, yes, I think I continue to do it, but I think the secret in making errors is about adjustability. You can't dwell on that, and a lot of people say, you just need to move on, and that's the best thing that you could probably do. Just suck it up and move on in that sense. You asked me about if your co-umpire makes an error. That kind of is, again, in the same process. The only thing that you can do as a co-umpire is, if a decision hasn't been made and you observe an instance of game management, let's say, for instance, it carries a warning, suspension, or order off, you can hold time. You go over to your co-umpire and provide them with what you saw, and then it still remains their decision as to whether or not they will apply your advice or not. So it might be something like anything that would result in a suspension or order off may well be the information that you share with that person. No, I don't think so. No, I don't. Yeah, no. I've had a lot of games, so someone, I'm sure, will say, yes, you did in 1999 or whatever. But no, I don't think I have. I mean, before the rules changed, I think I'd only ever suspended 3 or 4 players. So I'm probably only on about 10 suspensions in my career. Because, again, I think a lot of it is, yes, you can have these one-off things that occur where players just get their timing wrong. I don't think there's any real times in my career where there's been a suspension for malicious intent or anything like that. So it's often, if you stub out the spot fires by dealing with things earlier on in the game, it's very rare that suspensions occur. But probably only ever suspended about 10 times in a 20-year career, and that's probably 155 internationals and nearly 300 Super League matches. I think that the hardest area, I think, in the court. There's no real hard decisions, because if you're in the right place at the right time, you can make any decision really, and that's where good technique helps you. But I think over that far side, so when you're on your sideline, over that far side, often under the nose of your co-umpire, and they're at the moment they're prohibited for intervening, but right over in that far pocket by the transverse line is where it's the hardest to umpire, because it's so far away from where you actually are. Yep. So within the Super League, we do have, I guess you could call it a citing process. So anything not covered by the game that would constitute a breach of code of conduct or anything like that can actually be referred, and it has to be linked to video clips and all of that sort of stuff. And luckily at this precise moment in time, touch wood, it's never been enacted, because as my old grand dame of netball once said, netball's a game for ladies, played by ladies. I know it's very well challenged and well contested, but that sort of disrepute, bringing the game into disrepute, doesn't really happen, so we've not really had to enact that. However, we do send every single suspension and order off goes to be reviewed independently by World Netball Rules Advisory Panel, and they will come back, and teams do also have the chance to refer anything to be checked like that. So there is that referral process in place, but we do also have a really good relationship with the teams, and they will send in clips that require clarification to our officiating department, and likewise the coaches do have an opportunity to speak to the umpires to gain that clarification. So it's very rare that those clips come in because of those opportunities at the end of the game. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I actually don't think footwork is missed that much. I mean, not the standard 3 steps that people would experience. I think one of the things that is really important to note on this is that netball at both Super League, SSN and international level is so fast, and the foot patterns are so low, which makes it incredibly hard to umpire, that people often think that footwork's occurring when it actually isn't. Having said that, there are some occasions where so much busyness is going on, and often umpires are looking at 4 or 5 things, that the technical aspects of footwork, like a late takeoff where a player has caught the ball when they think they're off the ground but they're still on the ground, or a drag, or particularly a pivot, a gaining pivot from a goal shooter or goal attack, those are the ones that you really have to hone into, because they are easier to miss, because they often occur when busyness is happening elsewhere around the court. So umpires need to kind of flick their eyes all over the place. So in summary, I don't think it is missed more than anything else, but I think it is different to what people would experience in grassroots netball. Well, this is interesting because everyone always moans about this rule being so hard to understand. But I guess incorrect play in the ball used to be the umbrella term for the whole thing. And now in the rule book, we're dealing with repossession and replaying. So repossession is when you caught the ball, you lose possession and then you regain it before somebody else has touched it, or if it rebounds off the goalpost, which includes the post, the ring and the net. And replaying is what we kind of traditionally call the double bounce, but that in itself is flawed, because you can bounce the ball twice, you can't then catch it. So netball is a game of 3s, 3 seconds, 3 feet, 3 steps going wrong, and that's no different for the replaying rule in particular. So you can bat and bounce the ball, you just can't catch it. You can bat the ball and not catch it, but it's that third thing that goes wrong which triggers the replaying rule. So so in summary, I guess repossession is catch, drop, catch, and replaying is 2 things, and then the third thing is the catch that breaks the rule. No, because often a decision that's 100% correct could be 100% unpopular. So I don't really respond to boos. I think I've always said umpires have got the thickest of skins on the backs of their body, and what's important is what's in front of them. So people can boo away. It does make me smile from time to time though, because it often happens when you know you're 100% correct. So you just have to move on and not let it affect you. I think as the sport develops, the payment of umpires is definitely going to come in all of the plans I've seen for professionalisation for the Super League. It's actually in there. Why it's not in there now is always a surprise, but you can only pay someone if the money exists. And it's not unusual, actually. So outside of football and rugby, as I said before, I came from hockey. It's still not the case at the top flight of hockey that officials are paid. But to pay someone, you need the money to be in. So we need sponsors. We need to sell spaces on the front of umpires' shirts. But what I will say is just because you don't pay umpires at Super League level doesn't mean to say they don't provide an incredibly professional service. Our umpires in the Super League and those international umpires are operating at the highest levels of professionalism. They commit so much time to their own development and the betterment of the sport. So if we're talking about do they deserve to be paid, they absolutely do. Could we afford to pay them as much as they deserve? Definitely not. But absolutely, I do feel that payments are on their way, and it's probably the last big challenge that I've got to solve in my role at England Netball, and that's something that I've been striving for the last 10 years to get across the line. So if you're a sponsor, we've got space on our shirts. It's not really that expensive in terms of sport investment. So your role as an umpire is to get out there and provide the teams with a really solid base for which they can perform on. So you've just got to be really consistent. Don't ever use the rules against players. So this kind of like snipey umpiring where you feel like you're catching people out. You're trying to make, you're trying to enforce yourself. I think one of the things I've always been aware of is I look like this. So, when I'm a male in a female dominated sport, so I've really got to be hugely respectful. I used to be in charge of discipline in a school as well, so I've got to take the edge off the way in which I speak to people. So, all of that, risk of being passive aggressive and all of that sort of stuff, you really have to work hard to try and avoid that at all, because ultimately I'm a guest in this sport, and I'm thankful to be in it. So that's my best piece of advice, I think. I think, to be honest with you, knowing who's attending into officiating courses and how that's developed over the last sort of 5 years since we returned from COVID, there is a lot of youngsters coming through the sport and doing the into officiating. So I think long gone are the days that that umpiring is something that people fall into once they've finished playing. Likewise, I also think it's it's not something traditionally that people would think, well, I'm injured, I can't play anymore, so I'll come and umpire. I think we've got more and more people now choosing to become career umpires. One of our Super League umpires got their B award and their A award in the same season, and we're in Super League the next year. So the pathways are there now for this to be a real good option for people, and I don't think it's going to be too long for it to be a viable option for someone to kind of be paid a reasonable amount to do this at the top level as well. So I think there are a lot of youngsters coming through now, which is really, really pleasing to see. Yeah, I do. I think it was back in the day. I think Liz Broomhead, who was an England coach in the 90s and early 2000s, always used to make her players go on a course, umpiring course, because knowledge of the rules means that you can actually get smarts in it, and you can actually bend the rules. The example I'll give you is the rebound rule. If you're a goalkeeper and you're short of time and there's no one to offer to, you can actually pass the ball, brush it off the net, get onto court and catch the ball, and then you can send the ball all the way to the transverse line in the centre third. So it's little things like that knowledge of the rules can actually mean that you can stretch them and squeeze as much of them, as much out of the rules in your favour as possible. So I always think rules awareness is a real good thing for both players and in particular coaches. So yeah, it's a good option. Well, it's interesting because I'm actually now on the World Netball Rules Board, so I have to be careful with this sort of stuff. But I think the fussy rules, like your foot up to the line on a throw in, as long as it's set and stationary, I don't think we need to worry too much about the distance away from the line, as long as it's near to wear. But I certainly don't think that that's a priority for me now. I think The one rule that I think everyone always talks about, apart from replaying or playing the ball, is the short pass rule. So I know that that's a high focus for World Netball to have a look at in the next and up and coming rules review. So yeah, probably short pass. But those rules that when you penalise them, people go, oh god. Defending off court's another one as well. You know, if your foot accidentally goes out the back whilst you're defending, the umpire has to penalise you, and you might have a really great defending distance on your opponent, but your foot's out the back. So it's just those snarky rules really that people all think, oh god, there's the rule book, you know. No, I don't. And I think when I do, that's probably an indication to retire. But I think my basal level of fitness is good enough to umpire a high level game of netball. One thing that I do when I go into prep for Commonwealth Games and World Cup, I really do up the ante. We all do, because the battering that your body takes, you could be doing, 8 games in 10 days, which is something you just don't do in life. So you have to do a lot of strength and conditioning stuff. And I will be the first person to say that sort of stuff is not on normally on my daily routine, which is terrible. But yeah, I do a lot of cardio. But yeah, if I ever get out of puff, it's probably an indication that it is time to go. Oh, game day prep's interesting. So we have to get to a game ordinarily an hour and a half before, so that's all of the pre-match routines. But the other thing, umpiring is quite a solitary thing. So me, for instance, my closest venue is 2.5 hours away. The furthest one is 6 or 7 hours away. So there's lots of long drives. So you do find yourself stopping for a porridge in a service station on the way to matches and all of that sort of stuff. But I think once you're at the venue, I really am just a stretcher and a pulse raiser, cardio, some shuttles, ordinarily in the back corridor of a stadium. So yeah, not a huge and complex routine, no rituals or anything like that, and I certainly don't run around with headphones in listening to a power playlist or anything like that. I think I've got too long in the tooth for that sort of stuff. But that's not to say that some of my colleagues don't put their earpods in and switch off from the world to get themselves in the zone. Yeah, that's important and that's interesting. I read that question and thought, is someone trying to be funny because I look like this? But I am quite particular about my hairbands. I think I have got one on. I've always got one on. Sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and your hand's gone blue because it's too tight. But hairbands, I like the ones without seams because they exchange a lot easier. But yeah, there you go. A random question. Do I have a netball it? Yeah, I do. Three when it's nearly 2. That's a really interesting one, because I am absolutely sure that I guess it's a strange one, because really the 3-second rule, you can get your stopwatches out if you want, but it's basically 1 and 2 and 3 and blow. That's 3 seconds. And what I actually think people are kind of counting to from the sideline is 1 and 2 and 3. And it's like, no, that's actually just 2 and a bit. So feel free to get your stopwatches out and just time what I've just done. But yeah, 3 is a bad one. And from my PE teaching days, black socks and black trainers. No. Yeah. Do I ever wish I played? I think the really exciting thing about netball is that the pathways that are being created by EMNA, and both in men's and mixed netball. Now, if I was 20 now, the options would be massive for me. But back when I was starting out, I was a hockey player, and that's where I focused my time primarily, but there weren't the opportunities. Now, that's not to say that the men that were in charge of the game and representing England at the time weren't doing great things. They absolutely were, and those effectively were the trailblazers of our sport for men and mixed back then. But the amount of work that EMNA are doing now, and the speed and acceleration at which they're developing as an organisation in partnership with England Netball as well, is just fantastic. So if I had my time now, I might have played a bit more, but yeah, it just wasn't really a thing. back in the day. I'll definitely be a wing defence troublemaker. No, I'm joking. Yeah, probably. The wing defence get a bad rap, don't they? Whenever I'm talking about scenarios on court, it always happens by accident to be the wing defence. But yeah, probably a wing defence. Solidarity with the poor wing defences, I think. I think I can't. I technically can't, not because I don't want to, but I'm far too busy worrying about everything else that I've got to worry about to have, to have a favourite team. But I tell you, the type of team I like is the underdogs. I always love a 1-goal winner, and if it's an unexpected winner, that's a great one. But the diplomatic answer is that my favourite NSL team is the one that tries the best. Well, that's an interesting one, because I think in most senses of the word now, AI is taking over the world, and AI, there are lots of AI tools out there that will read the book for you. If you go on the England Netball website, there is a PDF version on there. All you need to do is open it with one of those devices and it will read it to you. But there's also a good app from World Netball as well. But that PDF that I spoke about is easier to search for specific terms in there. But yeah, lots of AI tools can read it out, unless you're actually asking me personally to read it, and then I might think that that's a good way for you to fall asleep, so that might be a sleep aid that you're looking for instead.